Hey everyone, EvaluNate here. Doing sort of an unscripted video today while we just dink around in some free roam on Spider-Man. Just kind of wanted to talk about the state of the gaming industry right now and the fact that it's freaking terrible is what it is. And just it feels like there's new news coming out every day that is just incredibly disheartening to hear. And I'm just feeling kind of down about it, and I need to rant about it. So, I figure a lot of you guys in the audience are probably also thinking about a lot of this, and so I figured, hey, might as well make a video kind of talking about my thoughts and just like I said, just kind of ranting. So, what kind of brought a lot of this kind of to the forefront of my mind was the announcement of the pre-orders of GTA 6. For months, if not years, people have been kind of speculating what's the price of GTA 6 going to be. Because, it was a huge game, and it was reported that Rockstar has spent billions of dollars putting the game together. And so a lot of people were like, oh man, is this going to be the first foray into $100 games? Or, could they come and like blow up the industry and say, hey, this game is $60? Like, in the day and age where now games are $70 kind of for the standard edition. Some people were like, they could get an absolute slam dunk. And I was one of those people. I never thought it would happen, but I just thought, absolute slam dunk if they said, hey, the game is $60. But that's not what happened. It was, I don't want to say it was worse than anyone could have imagined. It was worse than I could have imagined, worse than I expected. Because GTA 6 is launching for the standard edition, $80. They're not the first to do that. Nintendo did that with Mario Kart World, which they caught a lot of flack for, but, I'm not someone who's going to defend Nintendo until the end, but most people probably bought Mario Kart World alongside their Nintendo Switch 2, and so they probably got it for $50 instead of your standard, the $80 price point it would be. But, downside is you get it digital. It was not a cartridge in the box with it. But then Rockstar comes out and they're like, hey, the standard edition is $80, which is like, okay, that sucks, but we were all kind of bracing ourselves for the game to be more expensive than your typical game just because of how much has gone into it, how long we've been waiting for it. But that's not the worst part. That's not the kicker. The kicker is that that's the standard edition, and the ultimate edition is gonna run you. That was grammar. Is gonna run you $20 more. Oh, excuse me. It's gonna run you $20 more, with a significant chunk of content in the game locked behind that paywall. There's a lot of exclusive shops, and, I don't know if this is good or bad, but we kind of don't know the scope of the game, and so who knows? Maybe that's, one hair salon out of 20 possible hair salons, or one car shop out of 20 possible car shops. I mean, who knows for sure, because they haven't fucking shown us anything from the game yet. So it could be a huge problem in that it's like the main shops you go to are locked behind the Ultimate Edition, or maybe it really is just a little bit extra. But, they talk about how there's certain quest lines and missions and car modifications and whatnot that are locked behind this $20 paywall for the Ultimate Edition, which makes it feel like GTA 6 is a $100 game, and for the brokies, for the poors, for the people who can't afford a $100 game, they're graciously giving you an $80 edition that's missing a lot of stuff. A lot of these shops, hair salons, tattoo shops, car shops and stuff, gun stores, a lot of those have been kind of essential to the identity of GTA over the years. And so to see that kind of essential thing locked behind a very unfortunate paywall is disheartening. And, Ultimate Editions for games are not a new thing. But I hate the trend of day one DLC where there's stuff in the game locked behind an edition of the game they have to spend more of at launch to get it. And I've seen plenty of people online really upset about GTA 6 and what Rockstar has done with this launch. Sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But another frustrating thing is that no trailer 3. We have yet to see any gameplay from GTA 6, and yet they've opened pre-orders, and people, it's already, best-selling pre-order on PlayStation and stuff like that, and that's just frustrating that people have been buying the game and Rockstar made it possible for you to buy the game, and yet they haven't shown us anything from it. I feel like if I'm going to pre-order a game, or if I'm going to say, oh, yep, I'm going to spend my money on this product, I feel like I'm owed a glimpse as to what I'm buying. We've seen, you know, presumably cutscenes and whatnot from the game, but every look we've had of the game is still several years old at this point, and who knows what's changed since then. And like I said, just no gameplay. And so it rubs me the wrong way that pre-orders are already open when they have not won over people who might be on the fence about it. And just they haven't shown us anything, and I don't like that. And I've seen plenty of people getting upset with them online for the Ultimate Edition stuff, but a whole lot of defenders saying, well, obviously, like, it's Rockstar, it's GTA, like, it's gonna earn this price tag. It's okay that it's this price. And I don't agree with that. And the fact of the matter is, if Ubisoft pulled this shit, like if they revealed Black Flag Resynced, the base edition is $80, but all the new stuff we're adding to this remake, you know, new missions, new content, all the improvements, those are locked behind an extra $20. To get the full Black Flag Resynced experience, you gotta pay $100. If that was the case, people would be flipping their lids, going absolutely apeshit, angry over it. But because it's Rockstar and because it's GTA, for some reason Rockstar gets somewhat of a pass from the industry. And I don't like that. And it gives other games in the industry, other publishers, other developers permission to pull the same shit about that with the pricing model. Because EA, I think it was one of the EA Sports games a few years ago, was the first $70 game, and everyone just followed suit. And so now $70 is kind of the standard for games. And so I think with Rockstar doing this, they're opening the floodgates for everybody to start charging that much money for their games. But that sucks. It's already bad. It's already frustrating. But for me, the worst part about the GTA 6 launch is no physical. The technical quote-unquote physical edition of the game that's in stores is a code in a box. That makes me so fucking angry, because it's not like Rockstar can't afford to make physical editions of the game. And like, there's not even a collector's edition to be seen. Like, no cool memorabilia, no maps, no statues, no nothing, no steelbook. If you want the game physically, you can't. You cannot get the game physically. You have to buy it digitally, and even if you technically buy it physically and get the box that can go on your shelf, it's still just a code in a box, and it just ends up being a digital game in your library. And sorry, I bumped the mic there. I hate that, because physical media, you know, if you watch my Spider-Man video that I made, physical media is very important to me. I have a very large collection of 4K movies, DVDs, Blu-rays, Wii games, and a lot of PlayStation games on disc. I collect them, and I think it's important that we actually own what we have. And already this generation, kind of discs have already been somewhat problematic, because a lot of them aren't really the full game on the disc. You know, in the PS4 era, you know, Rockstar launched Red Dead Redemption 2, and that came on 2 discs. The Last of Us Part 2 on PS4 comes on 2 discs because the game was just too big to fit on one. But they made sure to give you the entire game. If you bought it on disc, you get the whole thing. You can install both discs and you can play the game without ever connecting to the internet. It's all on there. You can play it. And then a lot of games, one that's coming to mind, I think, was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, where if you bought it on disc, the whole game is not on the disc. You know, some of it is, you know, 30, 50 gigabytes of it is, but the rest of it you have to download off of the PlayStation server. And that becomes a problem for when the PlayStation servers inevitably go down, because they just announced today that the PS3 servers are going down. If you have that disc, which I have the Jedi Survivor disc, if I want to play that game in 20 years when the PS5 servers are no longer active and I can't do it, that's just not going to be an option. I'm not going to be able to play that on my PlayStation. So that's already frustrating. But at the very least, with a disc, you put it in, it copies what's on the disc, and then it downloads the rest of it. So you still, in some sense of the word, you still own it. And I can go to GameStop, I can trade it in, or I can lend it to my friend, I can sell it. for some extra cash if I don't want it anymore. I mean, I did that with my, I'm getting ahead of myself once again. Anyway, so no disc for GTA 6. And so like all that stuff combined has kind of put me in a position where like, I don't think I'm going to buy GTA 6, at least to not on launch. And I wasn't like hyped out of my mind for it or anything, but like it was going to be, it's maybe the most hype piece of media ever. You know, there are going to be people who haven't touched a console since the Xbox 360 days, since the PS3 when GTA 5 came out, who are going to go out and buy a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X just so they can play GTA 6. Like, it's going to be huge, but I'm not going to be one of those people. I wanted to be part of that because it was going to be huge. Like, I love video games, so I wanted to be a part of the cultural explosion that's going to happen when that game comes out. But purely on principle, I just don't think I can do it because I don't really buy games digitally. I try not to because ownership is important to me. And so that happened. That's been a whole thing. And then a couple days ago, it was announced from PlayStation that 500 or so movies from Studio Canal that people bought on the PlayStation Store are no longer going to be accessible in their library. Just, you cannot stream them. It's not just that they're not purchasable anymore. They're being removed from the libraries. You can't stream them. If you bought those, tough luck, kid. If you bought one of the Evil Dead movies from Studio Canal, it's over, buddy. Sorry, you don't have that anymore. You bought Terminator 2? Sorry, you don't have it anymore. No refunds, no recourse, no nothing. It's just licensing issues. They're gone. Tough luck. Sorry about that. Which, that news came out the other day, and that already really frustrated me because that's not fair. I'm not one of those people. I didn't buy stuff on the PlayStation Store, and I've seen a lot of talk online that's like, who bought games on the PlayStation Store? That's kind of on you if that's where you bought them. But, you know, a lot of people use the PlayStations as their home theater. I mean, the PS2 was as big as it was because it was a DVD player. It could play video games, and it could play DVDs, and it was cheaper or the same price as DVD players back then. So for a lot of people, that was their DVD player. That was kind of a no-brainer. And then the format wars, you know, in the mid-late 2000s are coming out. Blu-ray discs are becoming a thing. High definition home media is here. HD DVD versus Blu-ray. And so Sony has invented the Blu-ray. And so they're like, we need to get this format into people's homes. We need to get people buying Blu-rays and convincing them that it's worth an upgrade over their DVDs. So what do? The PlayStation 3 console can play Blu-ray discs, and the games come on Blu-rays on the PlayStation 3. I think. Don't quote me on that. I might actually be wrong about that. I know PS4 games come on Blu-ray discs. I can't remember if PlayStation 3 games did, but the PS3 could play Blu-rays, and so that was all over the advertising that your PS3, you know, new game console, but it can play Blu-rays. This new format. So you want to upgrade your game console and your DVD player, you can do it all at once with the PS3. And then PS4 comes out. It also functions as a Blu-ray player. And then PS5 rolls around, and it can play 4K Blu-rays, then the next format after Blu-ray. And so everyone can, you know, you can have your game console also as your home media base. And a lot of people did that. You know, that was kind of their home media center. I know the Xbox for a lot of people was also their DVD player, or their Xbox One was their Blu-ray player. And so there are a lot of those people who did that, and then, you know, digital games and streaming starts becoming a thing, or excuse me, not digital games, but digital movies. And so they start buying a bunch of movies on PlayStation Store so that they can access their digital library on their PlayStation, and they can put their Blu-rays in the player and watch them. And so anyone who did that, movies from Studio Canal that you bought, Terminator 2, Evil Dead, there's probably more that I can't think of off the top of my head, but those are gone. You can't watch them anymore. And so that's always been my fear about digital goods, is that they can be gone in an instant. Your PlayStation account gets banned. You know, a lot of people have probably already lost a lot of that stuff because their PlayStation account is banned or whatever. And that's just not good. And so already, you know, a lot of bad press from PlayStation and the games industry as of late. And then today, oh my God, today, it's been a bad day for me, dude. I've been in a really fucking bad mood all day because of all this that just got announced. But today they announced that PlayStation is sunsetting physical games in January 2028. So for only the next year and a half will they produce physical games, and then after that, you must buy all new PlayStation games on digital on the PlayStation Store. What? What? You've got to be... Oh my God. I'm sorry. I am angry about it. I am super fucking angry about it. They want to take away ownership. They want to remove the ability for you to actually own what you purchase from them. They want... Sorry, I'm like so mad I can barely talk or even get my thoughts together. But they say, you know, it's from, you know, there's changing trends in gaming where people buy digitally. And they're not incorrect in saying that. You know, I think it's like 80 or 85% of all game sales on PlayStation are digital. And so it's not like, you know, they're suddenly cutting off half their player base. Damn, sorry, my frame rates are really bad. I don't know why, because I can play this game at a really good frame rate. It's probably because I'm recording. Anyway, who cares? Sorry, what was I saying? Fuck. Lost my train of thought because I ran into the train tracks over there. Jesus, what was I saying? They're saying it because of changing trends in the industry, and they're not completely incorrect in that, you know, most people buy their games digitally on PlayStation anyway, but there are some people who don't. People like me, who I try to buy every game I purchase on physical, on cartridge on the Switch, on disc on the PlayStation. Sometimes I'll buy a game on Steam, but, you know, Steam is a different situation, which I'm once again getting ahead of myself here. But they want you to have to buy all your games digitally, because once they stop promoting physical media... Sorry, sorry, hitting my mic there. Once they stop selling physical media, physical copies of their games... The only way you'll be able to buy these games is through PlayStation's own store. They will have a monopoly, a complete monopoly on PlayStation games. If you want to buy them, you're going to have to buy them digitally through the PlayStation Store. And, you know, right now, that's not the worst thing in the world. They run, you know, sales from time to time. There's almost always a sale going on with some, you know, halfway decent discounts on a lot of stuff. But you really think that's going to last? Once your only option is to buy them on the PlayStation Store, do you really think a lot of those sales are going to last? Because a lot of the time they have to run those sales in order to keep up with sales that retailers like GameStop or Target or Walmart are running with their games. You know, if God of War Ragnarok is on sale for $30 on PS5 at Target, you know, maybe they'll start running a sale, and maybe you can buy God of War Ragnarok digitally for $30 or $40 on the PlayStation Store instead of the full $60. Because they have to keep up with that. Because then, you know, if people see, oh, I could buy this for $60 digitally, or I can go buy it physically at GameStop. I can get a secondhand copy of this at GameStop for $25. Why would you not go get the physical version of it, you know? They want to, and that leads me into, they want to cull the secondhand market. They want it so that if you want to play their games, period, ever, you must buy them on the PlayStation Store. You cannot, no longer will you be able to sell your physical games. You know, a lot of people will buy a game when it comes out on disc. They'll play through it within a week or two, and then they'll resell it on local classifieds or on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or what have you for $10, $20 off. They make some of their money back from it. Someone got the game for cheaper because they waited for a couple of weeks, and somebody else got to play the game on launch, and then they got most of their money back from it. It's a win-win situation for everybody. Or, for example, with Jedi Survivor, I loaned that game to my friend who was at college at the time after I finished it, so he was able to play it on PlayStation because I loaned him? I don't know if that's the word. I let him borrow my disc of it, so he was able to play it. So he didn't have to spend all that money to buy the game, and he was able to still play through it, and then when he was done, he gave it back to me, and great. And with public libraries, it's the same thing. I have a friend who almost all the games they play, they rent from their local library. They rent Switch cartridges all the time to play, to try them out. And PlayStation wants to get rid of that ability. They do not want you to be able to do that anymore. They want it so that if you have to play their game, if you want to play their game, you have to buy it on the PlayStation Store. And now that they won't be undercut by physical sales running in stores or secondhand market, what incentive do they have to lower the price on their games? You know, a lot of like Call of Duty games, when they're not on sale, the price is not lowered. You know, I don't know what it is right now, but I know I've checked like Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I play that online with friends sometimes. And I have a disc version of it, but you know, that can be sometimes a bit of a hassle to go get the disc. I'll admit that. Sometimes it's a little bit of a hassle. And so it's like, oh man, maybe I'll grab it digitally along with all the DLC. So then it's just always there. It's always ready for me to play. And then I still own it. on physical for when that becomes important. But the game is almost always, it's full $60. Whoop, almost left the area there. The game is almost always its full $60. Jesus Christ. And that's frustrating. And then sometimes it goes on sale, you know, maybe it's $25 for all of it. But even that's kind of steep, low key, for a game that's, I think at this point, that game's over a decade old. It's like, it doesn't need to be that price. And that is only going to worsen. So, you know, Forza Horizon 6 comes out, or not 6, excuse me, 7, in a few years, like 2029, Forza Horizon 6 launches. 7, oh my God, I cannot speak. Forza Horizon 7 launches, 2029. You can only get it digitally. You have to pay, maybe at that point, it'll be $80 for that game. Hell, 100. Let's go worst case scenario, because we're approaching worst case scenario already. $100, worst case scenario. Welp. That price is never going down, buddy. You want to buy that game in 2039? Hoping that, you know, it's been out for a while? Still $100. No discounts, because what incentive do they have to discount it? They'll have no competitors, no reason to try and, you know, lower the price on it to try to increase their sales. They can just keep it at that price all the time. And maybe I'm being a little bit, maybe I'm catastrophizing, being apocalyptic, but this feels apocalyptic in that regard. This is terrible. They're trying to cull the secondhand market. They're trying to make it so that you have to buy games at full price and you have to buy them digitally, because then they're able to shut down all the factories or whatever, or stop paying whatever factories are manufacturing the discs. So now they don't have to pay manufacturing costs or distribution costs. They don't have to deal with Target, Walmart, GameStop taking a cut of each game sale anymore. So now the profit margins increase. They make more money on every game sale on digital than they do when it comes out on physical. So obviously those things are going to be passed on to the consumer, right? You know, they no longer lose a cut. They don't have to pay the cost of that. So that means games are going to get cheaper now, right? Because now they don't cost as much for them to distribute on the digital PlayStation Store. Right? Fuck no. They are absolutely not going to do that. Games are going to stay expensive. They're going to keep going up. It's just, it's terrible. It's terrible. This is a terrible precedent for the industry. Even if you're somebody who buys mostly digital, which, hey, respect to you, that's totally fine if that's your thing. I get it. A lot of people don't like the space that discs take up, so they prefer to buy their games digitally. That's totally fine. But options are important. I'm the type of consumer who prefers to buy physically. And it's not zero people who do that. I'm not the only person who does that. 20%-ish in that ballpark of sales of PlayStation games are physical. And Sony just did a big middle finger to all of those people and said, fuck you, buy our games digitally or don't buy them at all. And so, you know, I've seen online a lot of people are like, I guess I'm done with PlayStation now. I guess I'm not buying the PlayStation 6. I'm still trying to figure out if that's me, because like, as much as I'd like to be able to say, oh, I'm going to close my wallet, PlayStation's not getting any more of my money. I love PlayStation. I love my PS5. I love the DualSense. It's brilliant. Their exclusives are so good, especially like the PS4 run, 2013 to 2020-ish. Insane run of games. Incredible games. And, you know, a lot of their PlayStation exclusives since then they haven't been quite as good, but like they have Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, Spider-Man 2, which as much as I just shit on that game and I made a whole video essay about it, it's not the worst game that's ever been made. It's still a perfectly fine game. I like those games and I still want to be able to play those day one. I mean, Wolverine's coming out later this year. I still want to be able to play those. And so as much as I'd like to say I'm angry enough about this to stop buying PlayStation, I think I have to be honest with myself and like consider like, am I going to stop? I don't know if I am. I'm going to have to take some time to really think about whether or not I'm going to stop. But that's the problem. That's a really bad part of it, is that there's going to be a whole lot of people like me who are like, you know what? I'll probably still buy them. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm above that. But that just means that nothing's going to change. Their sales aren't going to be impacted. The money they're going to save by phasing out physical is probably going to offset, and probably more than offset, the sales they're losing by not going physical anymore. And that's just disheartening. like, I would prefer it if they came out and they said, hey, you know, physical media, that costs money to distribute. So you know what? All physical games are now going to cost $10 more than their digital counterparts. I'd probably still be mad about that, but at the very least, I still have that option. I am still able to buy it physically if I so desire. I'm going to have to pay a little bit more for it, but I think that would be worth it to me for true ownership. But they're not giving you those options. They're just phasing them out immediately. And all of this is made more ironic by the fact that Xbox tried to pull this bullshit when they announced the Xbox One. They said, you can't resell your games. There's digital DRM with every physical game you buy, so it functions just like a digital game. It's in your library. It cannot be moved. It cannot be taken somewhere else. You can't sell it. You can't give it to somebody else. And so PlayStation saw that, and they're like, we have a slam fucking dunk here. And they made a hilarious video of here's how to share your games on the PS4. And it was a guy handing his copy of the game on disc to another guy, and boom. And that was the video. Total shade thrown at Xbox, but also showcasing, hey, don't worry. All of you Xbox gamers who are worried that you're not going to be able to sell or to own your games or to be able to share them with your friends or to resell them, we've got you. Come over to PlayStation. We've got you. And they did. PS4 absolutely won that generation of games and systems and whatnot. And Xbox then walked that back because it was so unpopular. But, you know, it's already rumored that the next Xbox console is not going to have a disc drive. And so now with 2028 being the date that PlayStation is ceasing physical media operations, that leads me to believe that either end of 2027 or maybe beginning of 2028, heck, maybe end of 2028 is when the PlayStation 6 will launch. And you can bet your fucking ass that there will be no disc drive in it. And so that means no backwards compatibility. My entire library of PS4 and PS5 games that I have on disc, I'm not going to be able to play those on PlayStation 6 unless I buy them digitally. That is incredibly frustrating. That makes me very upset. And I feel like I cannot overstate how upset I am over this. Like this has ruined my day. It's probably ruined my week. It might have ruined my whole summer. Like, I care about physical media and ownership so much. And PlayStation is saying, fuck you. Buy our games digitally or don't buy them at all. And so I'm going to really have to think about and figure out where I land on that. And who knows, maybe they'll walk this back, but I really don't think so. I've seen a lot of outrage about it online, but even if you're someone who mostly buys digital and doesn't, like, if this doesn't quote unquote affect you, it trust me, it will affect you. Pricing is going to change for the worse. And speaking of prices, let's move on to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is just hardware prices on everything is going up. Xbox just announced a few days ago that all their consoles that they're already struggling to move, that they're already struggling to get people to buy, are going up in price again because of rising hardware costs because of AI. Holy shit, fuck AI. You know, if anyone who's been on this channel before has known that on my videos, I have a disclaimer where I say I don't use generative AI in my videos. And that is still the case. That is always going to remain the case because AI gives us nothing. AI does nothing but take, and take. AI has driven up hardware pricing, RAM pricing. Like, I could sell the RAM, the 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM that's in my PC right now that I'm recording and playing this game on. I could sell that for more than I built this PC for. Like, that is just freaking bonkers. And, you know, GPUs are expensive. Storage is going up too. I mean, you know, 2 years ago, I could get a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD for probably between 70, 80, 90 bucks or so. You can't find one brand new for probably under 200 bucks at this point. And it's only going to keep going up. And I think it was Micron just locked in prices on those, on RAM, on storage, for 5 years. They said these prices at this point, they're going to stay for 5 years and they might even still go up. Apple just had to raise the prices of all their products. And I can't remember which company. It might have been Apple, or maybe it was Xbox or Microsoft, but they said, we anticipate all these RAM and storage prices doubling again within the next year. Doubling again within the next year. For what? So that I can have AI write my fucking email? Like, I'm so tired. I am tired, man. I'm tired of AI taking so much from us. I'm tired of Kevin O'Leary coming into my fucking home state of Utah that I have plenty of problems with already, but coming and saying we are building the world's largest data center here, and for all my legislators saying, oh, this is going to be great for us, when a data center like that would raise nighttime temperatures by 15 or 20 degrees Fahrenheit and raise daytime temperatures even more. I can't fucking talk. I'm so mad. To speed up global warming. And all of that so that I can generate a video of a cat dancing like a person, or so I can have AI write an email that I don't want to write. We have functioned just fucking dandy, just fine as a society for decades without generative AI. And now that it's here, there's all this language about give in. You know, it's all inevitable. You're going to have to start using it no matter what anyways. You might as well start now. And it's like, I don't know if I'm overreacting here, but that language is just, I see that around a lot just from people who defend AI. And that language just feels like kind of rapey to me. I don't know. Just like, you have no choice, so you might as well just let it happen. I don't know. It's gross. But that's kind of what it feels like with AI inserting itself into everything. I can't go on any website now without an AI chatbot pop it up at the corner. Let me help you today. Let me drink, a few gallons of water and say, let me help you today. And it's fine. Hey, AI chatbot, help me out. I'm looking for this product on your website. Can you find it for me? Yeah, give me a second. Okay, I didn't find anything. I just chugged 10 gallons of water. I didn't find anything. Can I help you with anything else? Like, AI is so fucking useless. We have functioned just fine without it. And all it is doing is taking from us. It is taking away our ability to think, to do things ourselves. Like, I don't want AI to do my art. I don't want AI to edit my YouTube video for me or to generate my voiceover. I don't want AI to make my video games for me. I want AI to do my fucking dishes and my fucking laundry so that I have more time to make art. But that's not what AI is for. And people are so happy to give up so much just for convenience. And this brings us back to physical media, is that people are willing to give up physical media and true ownership of the games that they're purchasing. They are willing to give all of that up for a little bit of convenience so that they don't have to get their fucking ass up off the couch and put a disc into the player. And I'm sorry, that's probably super harsh. I don't want to be angry at the people who choose to buy digital. I'm angry at the people who go digital and think that people who do physical are stupid and just need to deal with it because this is the way of the future. That is what frustrates me. So if you buy digital, fine. I mean, like my best friend prefers digital because he just doesn't like discs taking up space, and that's fine. But I still want a choice. And so all these hardware prices going up, and then Steam a few months ago revealed the Steam machine, and then prices started to go up, so they kind of delayed it. It took a long time. It took, 7 months or so for them to reveal the Steam machine pricing and open pre-orders. Over $1,000 for the base 512 gigabyte model and no controller. And 512 gigabytes is laughable. It's pathetic in the big 26 because modern games are huge. Spider-Man 2, I'm playing that right now. I think it's in ballpark 150 gigs. God of War Ragnarok, 190 gigabytes. I can't imagine how big GTA 6 is going to be. That's not even launching on PC day one anyways, but you can have your Call of Duty, you can have Fortnite on there. Well, I guess you can't if you're running SteamOS, but you can have Fortnite on there and maybe a few indie games, and your space is gone. You're gonna have to upgrade. You're gonna have to get some more storage. Oh, damn. A 1 terabyte drive is like $200. Damn, chief. That's rough. And so, don't worry. Valve's like, we got you guys. Okay. You could buy a 2 terabyte Steam machine with a controller. $1,500. A little bit less than that, but 15 fucking dollary dues. 15 bones. 15 bones. God, 15 bones would be amazing. 1,500 bones. 1,500 doubloons for a remotely usable piece of hardware. And it's not even better than a PS5. It's not even more powerful than a PS5. You can buy the PS5 Pro, a year of PlayStation Plus, and the Switch 2 with a game, with Mario Kart World, all for the price of a Steam machine. Why the hell would anybody do that? Just this the pricing on that is just ridiculous. And I know that's not Valve's fault either. That is AI's fault. I'm sure Valve is super upset that they have to price it that high in order for it to be a viable product. I don't know if a better choice would have been to just sit on it until things blow over, but like all these companies were saying, it doesn't seem like all these things are going to blow over anytime soon. And so they just kind of had to launch it, but like, I cannot fathom who the Steam Machine is for. Are they trying to get people who prefer console gaming into the PC space with Steam? Well, why are they going to... I don't see them doing that because it's more expensive than a console. They have to start their entire library over from scratch on Steam. And so for... Oh, hey guys. Fine, I'm going to kill these guys real quick. I'm going to take out my anger at this situation on you chuds. So is it for people who who are on console but are interested in the PC gaming space? Because they're intimidated by the inconvenience that PC has a lot of the time, which I'm not going to deny. You know, I spend a lot of time configuring stuff on PC instead of just playing my games, but I like doing that stuff. It makes me happy. So I'm fine with it, but a lot of people aren't. I know my best friend McCord is that way. I play games with him on my other channel, but he's that way. You know, he would love to have a PC that's a bit more powerful than his PlayStation 5. But also it's a lot. You know, you got to figure out DLSS and all your settings and your upscalers and your ambient occlusion. Like, you got to figure out all those settings to get it to run properly, and then you got to get your monitor, you got to get your controllers, your keyboard and your mouse, and it's more expensive than a console. And so it makes sense that people on console are like, I just like to stick with it because I put the game in and it just works and I can play it. And the console comes with everything I need. And so the Steam Machine, in theory, I love the product because it makes PC gaming way easier. It will be plug and play like a console, especially if developers are able to make a Steam Machine mode, just like there's a lot of Steam Deck modes for a lot of games. They'll be able to just plug and play and then have access to the whole Steam library, to Steam sales. Like, that's all great. I love that idea. But the price is just so astronomically high through no fault of their own, just because of AI and how much it's driven up the pricing on everything, that it's not for those people. Is it for the people who already have a PC, but like the idea of there being a living room version of it they can play on? Probably not, because why would they sell their current machine and then buy something that's more expensive that doesn't even play the games any better than something like a PS5? I mean, I heard about the Steam Machine, but I knew the prices were going to be expensive because it was all, it was all going up already. God damn. And it was all going up already. And so I converted my gaming PC into I can't remember if it was an SFX or a mini ITX build that has a handle on it, so I can carry that from my room that I can sit in with my ultra-wide monitor for working on it, or my TV out here with my Dolby Atmos sound system and my 4K HDR TV for gaming out here. And so it's inconvenient to carry it room to room, but it works relatively well as a living room gaming PC. And I was able to upgrade some components. I got a better GPU to play on my TV and whatnot for way less than it would have cost me to get a Steam Machine. And that's disheartening. So for people who already have a PC that want the living room experience, it's too expensive for those people. And so it's just I don't know who the Steam Machine is even for. And so that was also kind of disheartening to see. Oh man, a lot of people were excited about it, but a lot of people are like, I cannot justify paying that much money for it. And so they're probably not gonna. So there's that. Let me take a look at my list here of things I wanted to talk about. Oh, Stop Killing Games, the initiative in the European Union, failed to get legislation. Super disappointing, because that gained a lot of traction, a lot of attention, got a lot of signatures. And then even at this whole thing where people were arguing against Stop Killing Games, people were like, yeah, your Minecraft server is illegal. Yeah, 100%. The Minecraft server that Mojang and Microsoft provide all the resources you need to host your own Minecraft server, your private Minecraft server, that's illegal. That's piracy. You're stealing from Microsoft. You're stealing from these companies. Fuck off with that bullshit, man. So that was a pretty minor thing that happened. And yeah, physical media matters for games, for movies, for music, and just streaming is destroying all of that. People are just giving up true ownership of all this stuff to pay these companies endless money month after month after month for worse quality. You know, streaming movies are usually pretty mediocre. They don't look great, and a lot of writing for a lot of these things, like Stranger Things Season 5. Oh my God, Stranger Things Season 5 was such a victim of second screen writing, where like people are gonna be on their phones, so we gotta make sure that the dialogue in the show is, you know, saying exactly what's on screen so that people who are on their phones while they're watching can still follow it, so they don't get mad at us and say, this movie was boring or this movie was bad, but it's my fault because I wasn't paying attention. But that just dips the quality for people who are actually actively engaging with it. So already movies and TV shows are going downhill because of that. But then, you know, stuff gets removed from Netflix all the time. It used to be that most of everything was on Netflix, so you could subscribe a few bucks a month and you got Netflix, you got a ton of stuff, you could stream it. But the quality is so much worse than what a Blu-ray can provide. And, you know, for most people that doesn't matter, but for people like me, that way matters. And then, you know, stuff like Spotify, it barely pays the artists who stream it. And to be fair, I think streaming with everything, I think music streaming is probably the least offensive thing out of all of it, because yeah, gathering your own music library can be expensive. You're having to pay $1.50, $2 a song. You know, if you have thousands of songs in your library, that's a lot of money. And so like, I understand the appeal of streaming music. I still, you know, I ditched Spotify. I, you know, data hoarded a bunch of the playlists I had on there, downloaded a bunch of FLAC, so I have lossless CD quality of all my music now, and I just find ways to get lossless music when I want to add stuff to my music library. You know, I don't need an algorithm to tell me what music would I like. I take the bands I like, I listen to all their stuff, see what stuff of that I like. I talk with friends and with family who like that stuff too, and ask them, oh, what are your favorite bands? You know, it's community. I don't need an algorithm. I don't need AI to tell me what it thinks I'm gonna like. Sorry, this has been an incredibly rambly conversation, but I don't know, I'm very passionate about this, and I'm very frustrated that this is the state of things. And it's disheartening, and it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon. You know, we're not going to own our games, and cloud gaming, you know, Jeff Bezos fucking saying like, we want you to subscribe to PC power. I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically he wants people to not own their own computers anymore and to subscribe to things like cloud gaming and to pay for computing power. So, you know, now instead of owning your own PC, you won't be able to anymore. You'll have to pay Amazon or whoever, you know, a subscription fee of, you know, $20 a month to access powerful hardware that we stream to you. And then also you have to buy your games. You have to buy an $80 game. You want to play GTA 6? You got to pay 100 bones for that. And then you also need to pay $20 a month to our cloud gaming service. And you can rent that PC power so you can play that game. And then you'll have really bad latency, and, you know, the bitrate will be really bad, so it'll look all crunchy on your big TV. And it'll play like shit. And you're gonna like it, damn it. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. That is the future we're heading towards, and that makes me goddamn fucking sick. That makes me sick. Ugh. It pisses me the fuck off. And it just, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do about it. We could be angry all we want, but the fact is most people are just going to say, that's fine. I'm already there. I'm already buying things digitally. I'm already just subscribing to Netflix and HBO Max and Spotify or Apple Music. I already own nothing. I already, you know, donated all my discs. I already got rid of all my CDs. Because this is easier. But guess what? You're going to have poured so much money into all of that by the end of your lifetime. Thousands upon thousands of dollars. And you will have fucking nothing to show for any of it. I just bought a CRT and I started investing in VHS tapes because they're fun and they're nostalgic. And, you know, my kids can, someday they'll be able to watch those and it'll be easy. They won't have to scroll through a streaming service where Netflix is trying to scream at them to watch the latest AI-generated slop Cocomelon episode. I don't want that for them. I want them to own their shit. If we're going to watch a movie, we're not going to scroll through Netflix or Disney Plus for 30 minutes trying to pick one. We're going to go to my shelf. We're going to pick a 4K. We're going to go to my home theater. If I ever own a fucking house in this economy with AI, we'll go to my home theater and we're going to sit down. We're going to watch it. It's going to be deliberate. That is the future that companies want to take away. You know, consumers like me, Sony hates. you know, Horizon Forbidden West came out in, what was it, 2021? 22, I think. I think it came out in 2022, and that came out, and I had just gotten a PS4 at that time, and I was like, oh, cool. And I found on a couple weeks after it came out, Facebook Marketplace near me, $40. Someone was selling their copy of Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. $40. I got them both for PS4. And I was able to go and I bought them and I played them for a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm not digging this. This is not my kind of game. I'm not super enjoying this. Pixie, I'm over here. My cat just ate food and then for some reason forgets that we exist after that. Pixie! But I bought those, $40. I was able to buy them, tried them out, and I was like, you know what? I don't like them. So I put them back on Facebook. $40 for the lot of them. Someone came and bought them for that price. I lost nothing. But that was perfectly fine. Perfectly legal for me to do. And companies like Sony would love to, you know, shoot me in the fucking head for that. They hate that I was able to do that. They would have preferred that I had to... I was like, oh, Forbidden West came out. Interesting. Well, let's see. Oh, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, look, it's on sale for $30. I'll buy that, and then I'll also pay $60 or $70 or whatever to get Horizon Forbidden West 2. Both of those games. Start playing Horizon Zero Dawn. A few hours in, I'm like, man, I'm not digging this. I'm not really liking this. Oh, man, but I downloaded the game, so no refund. There is no option for me to get a refund on PlayStation. So they also, if everything's going to be digital, they got to get a better refund policy, because goddamn, once you buy the game, if it's downloading on your console, too late, buddy, you don't get to refund it. So they would have loved for me to buy both of those games digitally, not like them, and then just be stuck with them. I've spent the money on them. Tough luck, buckaroo. That stinks. They hate people like me who will buy games for cheaper. They'll wait a little bit, buy them on physical, or if they don't like the game, then they'll just sell it on physical. And a lot of people will just play it once and then they sell it and they put that money towards the next game. And they want to get rid of that. I am Sony's worst nightmare. Ha ha ha. Oh my god, that sounded better in my head, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, if you can't tell, I'm super fucking upset. I'm mad. I'm angry. And I don't know what to do, because this is the future we're headed towards, and most people seem to be fine with it. It's only a vocal minority that's saying this is bad. And so I don't know. Gaming industry's fucked. It's really hard to be a gamer right now. It's really hard to be passionate about the games industry. It's hard to be in love with this medium right now. It's hard to be excited about the future. It's hard to be excited about GTA 6, about Wolverine, about God of War Lao Fei, about potential Spider-Man 3, about Ocarina of Time. It's hard to be excited about any of it, because we're being pushed toward a future where we will own nothing and be happy. For PlayStation, you know, their whole slogan, play has no limits. Nope. Play has limits for PlayStation. Anyway, that's probably all I had to say about it. I'm just kind of rambling at this point and just being angry, but yeah, this fucking sucks, chat. This is terrible. Anyway, what do you think? Are you fine with this? Do you hate it like me? I hope you hate it like me, because this is not good for anybody. So anyway, yeah, that's really about it. See ya.